If I showed you a way to win back your wife with no doubt in her mind, no convincing or couples therapy, would you do it? You see, right now, what may seem like the hardest thing in the world is more within your reach than you think. In this video, I'm going to show you 7 powerful lessons every man discovers in his journey to get his wife back fast. And it's not just back. I mean back in a place where love and intimacy is thriving like never before. Husbands who ignore these steps or never get the chance to take them end up pushing their wives away out of ignorance or by taking the wrong action. This leads to resentment for each other, confusion, helplessness, and ultimately becoming a failure as a husband. And that's not even the worst part. What's more damaging is because you didn't discover these lessons, you'll repeat the same mistakes with the next woman you fall in love with. And this will keep on happening, hence the divorce rate multiplying with every new marriage. I'm Stacey, by the way. Hello. These are 7 lessons learned from helping hundreds of husbands save their marriages. Now, I mentioned husbands taking the wrong action, so before we jump into these lessons, let's look at the number 1 mistake we see men constantly make. If your partner wants out of the relationship and you try to convince her to stay with practical reasons like the impact on the children, shared memories that you both have, the future you were going to build, financial considerations, or potential harm to the family. These are all logical solutions, and that's the mistake. Using logic to address emotions. Emotional issues require emotional solutions. If she doesn't feel the connection with you, your best intended logical arguments will fall short and won't change her emotional stance. It's like trying to attract someone by showing off a material possession like a really nice watch or an impressive job. It just won't cut it. Attraction and emotional investment are driven by feelings, so you must work to empathize with her on an emotional level. I'll touch more on this later in the video. Okay, let's talk about the first lesson. Think about what it would be like for a dentist to try and clean your teeth whilst riding a roller coaster where precision and clarity are nearly impossible. It's safe to say a roller coaster is not the time or the place to remove plaque, right? The lesson I'm talking about here affects 100% of men going through what you're going through right now. I'm talking about AAA. What does it stand for? Avoiding anxious action. All the men who are struggling in their marriages experience a high level of anxiety. This anxiety typically stems from a deeper issue. It's rooted in a part of you that desperately seeks those 3 magic words, that perfect conversation that will miraculously solve all your problems. However, this anxious part of you fails to grasp the harsh reality of the situation. Any actions you take when you're in an anxious state are unlikely to gain positive results because you're on that roller coaster. It will be like trying to build a delicate house of cards in the midst of a hurricane, where even the slightest movement can cause everything to collapse. In these moments, your mind becomes a turbulent, foggy sky, and making rational decisions is challenging. The woman you're dealing with is perceptive and can sense the underlying intentions behind your actions. Even well-intended gestures like giving her flowers or thoughtful gifts may be perceived as a lack in genuine value. As a result, the best course of action when you are anxious is to step back, pause, and reframe from making impulsive decisions. Instead, focus on understanding the deeper issue at play and addressing them in a more thoughtful and effective manner. And that leads us to the second lesson.
Hello.
Did you say hello?
No, I said hello, but that's close enough.
You're a worm, aren't you?
Yeah, that's right.
You don't by any chance know the way through this labyrinth, do you?
Oh, me? No, I'm just a worm.
Oh.
Come inside and meet the missus.
No, thank you, but I have to solve this labyrinth. but there aren't any turns or any openings or anything. It just goes on and on and...
Well, you ain't looking right. It's full of openings. It's just you ain't seeing them.
Well, where are they?
There's one just across there. It's right in front of you.
No, there isn't.
Come inside and have a nice cup of tea.
But there isn't an opening.
Of course there is. You try walking through it. You'll see what I mean.
What?
Go on then.
That's just wall. There's no way through.
Things are not always what they seem in this place. So you can't take anything for granted.
Hey!
Hey, hang on!
Thank you. That was incredibly helpful.
But don't go that way.
What was that?
I said don't go that way. Never go that way.
Oh, thanks.
If she'd have kept on going down that way, she'd have gone straight to that castle.
Now, for the sake of the movie, she had to go the wrong way to build on the story and add obstacles and interesting characters and all of that. But the second lesson I'm talking about here is insightful investment. Seeking advice in the wrong place despite good intentions is a common pitfall when faced with relationship challenges. You may turn to friends, families, or even therapists for guidance, but these sources can provide inaccurate advice. Friends may base suggestions on their personal experience. Family may act out of concern, sometimes suggesting drastic action like leaving the relationship. Therapists, while offering valuable insights, may not always provide direct solutions. It's like having a map that guides you in the wrong directions. As a result, more than 90% of marriages that initiate divorce do not succeed due to improper insight. One of the patterns in these situations is the tendency for spouses to label each other as narcissists, leading to blame and further distancing, which ultimately hinders their ability to achieve what they desire in the marriage. Therefore, it's essential to approach advice seeking with caution and consider multiple perspectives to make well-informed decisions in the matters of the heart. This next lesson is important because lots of men think they've learned this, that you have cured an illness that eats away at you like a parasite, but in reality it lies dangerously dormant, hiding beneath the surface until it rears its ugly head in the heat of an argument and pushes your wife further away. I'm talking about real forgiveness. You see, without it, resentment will keep rotting you away from the inside. True forgiveness is a deeply personal concept that varies from person to person. Each man has their unique set of principles and beliefs regarding forgiveness and what it really entails. For me, real forgiveness means having a profound sense of inner peace and harmony over a specific situation. In other words, complete forgiveness, in my view, implies being free from the lingering emotional turmoil or resentment connected to the past event. Now, my perspective on forgiveness may differ from that of yours. Nevertheless, one common indicator of complete forgiveness is the tendency to bring up past issues during current disagreement. This behaviour signifies that a person has not fully let go of the past and its associated grievances, hindering the path towards genuine forgiveness. It's crucial to note that forgiveness is not a simple on-off switch like a lamp. Instead, it resembles the gradual turning of a knob. Just as you increase the volume slowly to reach the desired level of sound, forgiveness is a process that unfolds over time, and it's something that can be nurtured and cultivated, not achieved instantly. And just like real forgiveness happens within ourselves, the next lesson has the same idea. One of my clients, Will, told me about a moment he remembers from his high school years when he worked part-time as a line cook at a restaurant. When he was still in training with lots of other cooks in the kitchen, he put out a dish that was a little on the messy side. The presentation wasn't up to par. The manager of the restaurant was helping the wait staff bring plates to the table when he noticed the dish. He said out loud, "This is unacceptable. Who plated this?" Will was really embarrassed and nervous, but he said immediately, "I did." The manager replied, "Let's do better, okay? I need this fixed. Thanks." And Will got to it right away. After that, one of the senior waiters, who was known for speaking loudly, chimed in and said, "That's what I like to see, owning up to it. Good job, man." Despite his mistake, Will felt a little better after such positive words of encouragement. So can you guess what the fourth lesson is? It's one that will reinforce your masculine character and let you shine as a leader, and that is to fully own it. Taking ownership of your actions, especially if you unintentionally hurt someone, is a crucial part of healthy relationships. There are many ways in which people, men in particular, try to displace responsibility in marriages, blaming external factors like her past trauma or the advice of her friends and therapists. You're implying that the issue lies with her, rather than recognizing your role in the matter, remembering that she is leaving you, and it's important to respect her decisions and not make it about your own feelings or desires. Understanding that it's about her needs and feelings is a crucial step in taking ownership. You may genuinely be a good person with good intentions, and that is likely that you didn't intend to hurt her, but good intentions don't always result in good outcomes. Sometimes our actions are guided by a false blueprint that we've learned about how to make somebody happy. This blueprint may not align with what your partner actually needs or desires. To take ownership, you must be willing to confront everything you've done that may have hurt her, even if it was unintentional. Even something as simple and common as trying to solve her problems. By doing so, you convey the message to her that she wasn't allowed to feel in the way that she did. In that situation, you need to empathize with her emotions. Then you're supporting her in a way that aligns with her needs. So you want to demonstrate your commitment to her well-being and emotional health. It starts with you fully owning it. For this next lesson, let me start by sharing a story. My friend Sarah didn't date much, and she'd never been in a serious relationship during her school years. So when she first met Steve and they hit it off, it was like a whirlwind romance. He was kind, considerate, and always ready to say yes to whatever she wanted. At first, she was enamored by his attentiveness and the constant shower of flowers he bought her. The early days were filled with laughter and sweet gestures, making it all seem like a fairy tale. But as time passed, Sarah began to notice something she never expected. Steve's unending eagerness to please her started to make the relationship feel dull. There was no challenge, no excitement, and no sense of his own desires or needs. It was as if he'd moulded himself entirely around her, losing his own identity in the process. She remembers the time he bought her a bouquet of roses for the 4th time in a month. It was sweet, but it lost its novelty. She longed for something more unpredictable, for a partner who could challenge her, intrigue her, and make her grow as a person. Sarah couldn't help but feel a growing sense of boredom in their relationship. She wanted someone that could push her to be the best version of herself, someone who could stand up to her when needed, and who would have their own dreams and desires. Steve's inability to assert himself or express his own needs left her feeling like she was dating a mirror, reflecting back only what she wanted to see. It wasn't easy, but she knew she had to have an honest conversation with Steve. She wanted to express her feelings without hurting him. She explained to him that although she appreciated his kindness, she needed more. She wanted depth and challenge. It left Steve feeling vulnerable. They both did. But it also opened the door to a new chapter in their relationship. Steve, who had always been so eager to say yes, started discovering his own passions and interests. He began asserting himself in a healthy way, and their relationship started to have more balance. Her attraction for him started to grow again. Steve learned that being himself, even if it meant saying no sometimes, was a much more attractive trait. That's why the 5th lesson is to say goodbye to Mr. Nice Guy. You see, a lot of men are overly nice and needy without realizing it. They confuse politeness with putting her on a pedestal. When you do that, she unconsciously sees you as weak. You must be a leader in her eyes, a man she looks up to and not down to. This means that you make your purpose your first priority. Know your goals and values and stick to them. She is a blessing to you, yes, an added bonus to your already abundant life. You love and respect her and you are grateful for her, but you're not making your entire world around her. This means you should not always be changing your plans for her. It means you should not do nice things for her with a hidden agenda to receive something in return, like her love and affection. She is very sharp-minded and she can sense this and it repulses her. You need to say goodbye to that Mr. Nice Guy persona and become the high-value man that she needs. Plain and simple. A lot of this needy nice guy behavior stems from an inability to understand a woman, especially her emotional storms. That's why the sixth lesson is a crucial one. Understanding this is like giving you the key that unlocks a chest full of gold, but not understanding it is like trying to force in the wrong key. The key will not fit, or it will get jammed, or worse, you'll break the key. As I'm sure you've noticed, men and women have many similarities in how we communicate, but there's one big difference that is responsible for most of the frustrations and arguments in marriages. I touched on this earlier when talking about the biggest mistake men make, and that is men speak with logic and women speak with emotion. The lesson here is to mind her emotions. So when she's coming at you with heated words about how she does everything around the house and you do nothing to help out, be it folding the laundry, cooking dinner, or helping out with the kids, understand that there could be other factors at play you don't know about. Maybe she's stressed at work. Maybe it's something else. Maybe you don't do enough around the house. Maybe you do in other ways and it seems like she doesn't recognize it. You need to empathize with her at that moment, not try to solve her problem logically, and not react in defense. When you do so, you are essentially telling her that it's not okay for her to feel the way she does. How do you think that makes her feel? Instead, you can say, you feel this way because of this reason. I hear you. This is hard for any man to do during an emotional firestorm, especially when you're not used to it, but it's so important. Be aware that you as a man converse through a logical lens and try to address her on an emotional level instead. The final lesson is one that works miracles for your manhood and her attraction to you, and it's all in your mindset. The lesson is indifference makes all the difference. Indifference doesn't mean that you become cold and careless towards her in your marriage. It's important to desire and appreciate your wife as a life partner. Indifference means that you adopt a healthy, independent mindset. You want her, but you don't need her. Her role isn't to fill an emotional void of yours. Having that mindset allows you to stay driven on your own true purpose, while you might logically believe that you can live independently without your wife. Emotional insecurities and neediness can reveal otherwise. When you experience fear or emotional reliance on your spouse, it suggests that deep down you may still depend on her for emotional well-being. The key to a healthy marriage is to place independent value on yourself, to recognize your own worth and have a strong sense of self-esteem and self-worth. Interestingly, this is what your wife desires, even if she doesn't openly acknowledge it. When you become indifferent in that you value yourself as an individual, you become a more attractive and confident partner, and this will strengthen your marriage. And if you're watching this and your marriage is in a dark place, your wife wants space, or she's even mentioned divorce, click below and set up a free call with our marriage evaluating team. Together we'll assess your situation and figure out the best way to save your relationship. It's not too late. Josh Hudson and I have developed a program specifically for husbands in failing marriages. It uses techniques that have saved hundreds of relationships, even if divorce is already on the table. And we can help save yours too. Thank you for watching, and tap the like button if you enjoyed the video. Take care.